The Twitch chat is asking if they can have a pace point. There we go. Oh no! Oh, we've upset the dog. What you got planned for the future? Tell us everything.
All right, we'll go ahead and get started. So my name's Kirk. I work at Twitch. I manage the relationship with game companies and business development. So basically what that means is I work with publishers and developers, help them put their games on Twitch, take advantage of the opportunities available, and just generally do a bunch of cool stuff for the community. So excited to have these guys here to talk a little bit about some of the strategy behind Sea of Thieves, their vision for the game. It really aligns well with what our strategy is at Twitch, which is letting players kind of craft their own stories and experiences just by playing games with their community. So excited to have them up here and talk to you guys. I'm going to hand it off to Alanah, and we'll do a round of intros, and then you guys can actually hear from the guys you are here to see.
Thank you all for joining us. I'm Alanah Pearce. If you don't know me, I worked at IGN for a few years. I'm now at Rooster Teeth, Inside Gaming, and Funhaus. So I've been in games media for almost a decade, and also a huge Rare fan, and a very big fan of Sea of Thieves since before the game came out. So I'm very excited to be moderating the panel, but I thought we'd go down the line. Do you want to introduce yourselves one by one?
I'm Pace22. Many of you guys know me from the Twitch Rivals and streaming the game since the launch, day one. It's my pleasure to be here and meet you guys.
Oh no! Oh, we've upset the dog. No more clapping.
Hi everybody, I'm BBXH. I also stream Sea of Thieves. I have completely lost my voice, so I'm sorry. But I also did Twitch Rivals as well and did Battle for Orlando. So that's me.
Joe, you're up next. Or Kato.
Yeah, so this is Kato the dog.
Thank you.
And I'm really hoping he behaves. The monkey went well, so we thought let's try a dog. Yeah, I'm Neate, executive producer, and it's a pleasure to be here with everyone. Super excited. So thanks to Kirk for kind of inviting us, and obviously Alanah for hosting, and everyone for being here.
I'm McFarlane. I'm the head of video and creator engagement on Sea of Thieves, and
The monkey puke guy.
That's what I was going to say. And he got vomited on by a monkey. Can we talk, just before we get into the actual point of this panel, how did that happen?
The monkey puke?
Yeah.
I believe Joe had a bright idea and sent me an email saying it would be great if we have a live monkey on our stream about pets. Mm-hmm. To which I was like, it sounds like a challenge. Like, I'll go and try and make this happen. And I did. And thinking in my head, if anything goes wrong, it's probably going to happen to Joe.
Hopefully.
Yeah, little did I know. Yeah.
Well, you looked great with monkey vomit all over your shirt. So.
Thank you.
All right, so first up, we're going to talk about basically what the original vision for Sea of Thieves was, because this is a game that works so well for streaming and for content creation because players can create their own stories. So was that something that you had originally planned when you first started designing the game, or is that something that just showed up when you saw people saw people streaming the game?
Yeah, so players creating stories together was the vision, and we really wanted to have this sandbox world where there was kind of cooperation, but there was also room for competition, and we thought that would lead to really interesting stories. And we're obviously all huge fans of pirates. We thought we could own pirates as well. You know, It felt like there was a kind of gap in the market, really. No offense to any other pirate games, but it really did, right? And I think now when you think of pirates, you think of video games, you think of Sea of Thieves.
Yeah.
And the fact that we're the fact we're here at TwitchCon and we're here at a kind of a streaming event with streamers shows that the stories have been created in the game, right? And that's always been the vision.
Yeah. How did you balance? You mentioned it being both co-op and competitive. How did you balance those two diversely different things?
Well, we have different types of players, right? Pace is quite aggressive.
Yeah, you go ahead, Pace.
Yeah, definitely. In that aspect, they leave that open. So there's not a fine line between, aggressive or passive. That's the point of the environment where you get to figure that out for yourself. You go in, you might meet a new best friend, or you might go in and you never want to see that person again.
You might meet Pace.
Awesome.
I mean, I think
Get
you were
death
telling
threats
me.
on Reddit.
I think you were telling me yesterday that at one point on a stream you were sleeping for several hours.
Yeah, that's right. You guys are familiar with the tux. Not me personally, although I might be able to. A little less engagement with you guys, but yeah, that's just something that came about. Obviously, sneaking onto ships became pretty popular in the game, but that wasn't even a game design. So I think there's more to the game that can be done like that maybe we haven't even discovered yet. So it's cool to have a sandbox environment where you have that opportunity.
I guess.
And going kind of back to your question, Alanah, one of the beauties of this game, because you do have like you can do kind of whatever you want for the day. You can go PvP with people and tuck on their ship, or you can go dig up treasure. And for somebody who's streamed, I'm sure a lot of you guys that stream, you play a game, and when you stream it, sometimes they're repetitive. And you sit there and you watch people like, how do they stream this for so many hours? It's so repetitive. But with this game, I mean, you can go for so long, and there's just so much to do. And I think that's the beauty of this game.
As content creators, when you guys first discovered Sea of Thieves, how much has your playstyle changed from when the first time you played it to now? How has it evolved for you, I guess, as players?
Well, obviously you get into the game, you've kind of got your tutorial, what am I doing here? Am I digging up a chest? Am I going to fight some skeletons, whatever? And as a content creator, I was like, yeah, so that's pretty cool, but I kind of thought, what can I do outside the box there? So it goes back to that same thing. There's a ton of different avenues that you guys can do, especially as a content creator, to kind of make your own stream up. And like I said, you might watch 10 different streams and you get 10 different content. You know what I'm saying? It's just a very diverse streaming game, and I think that's why it's really going to be a successful thing in the future.
For me, I mean, I love doing puzzles and everything. Like, I've always loved that and digging up the treasure. But I will say, once I heard Arena was coming out, I was like, oh man, I need to like practice my PvP. So I literally just started attacking everybody. But it worked. And now I love PvP, and I do that probably as much as I can.
Do any of you have stories of like friends that you've met just on Sea of Thieves?
I feel like with streaming, it brings people together and they see you, and that's people now that I met them through streaming the game, or like I've run into people in the game and you realize, oh, like you're another streamer, and then we end up streaming together and playing together all the time.
One of the kind of aspects of Sea of Thieves for me especially is it's just a great place as well to catch up. Like, you've got these amazing peaks and troughs in the game where you have the time when you're sailing and it's downtime, and you just get to chill and chat, and then you're back into it again with maybe you're in a battle, or you're in with in with skeletons and stuff, and it's just it works on both levels. Like, if you're just a player and you want time to catch up with your friends and you like space to chat, you've got that. And then as well, for a content creator, I guess it's that time in the middle to spend some time talking to your chat, to read out what's on there and stuff. And it kind of works both ways.
One thing I'll add to that too, and is one of the reasons we were really excited to do the Arena Twitch Rivals event, is like Sea of Thieves is such a good type of game to meet players, like Alanah's alluding to. So to kind of mix up these crews and get people on a team and playing together, we already had a bunch of people on Twitch playing and crafting their own stories, but then having this arena mode over a couple days and getting people together and playing, like, that was kind of the same spirit of that event, was to get these people playing together and crafting some relationships as well.
Yeah, it definitely works well for that. Like, I've met some people who've mostly been really mean, but that I've then added as a friend from playing Sea of Thieves, so I totally get that.
Was it Pearce?
Most likely, yeah.
It might be. I can't confirm nor deny that. But before we jump to the next topic, I really wanted to talk about, to you guys down the end, the rare folk. How surprised have you been by how creative people have been with the game since it came? Like, are you constantly seeing crazy things happen that you guys didn't expect every week? Or is it like, no, we pretty much expected them to treat it that way?
Yeah, I think what was interesting in all the original meetings we had about Sea of Thieves, it was definitely that players would become the kind of Blackbeards of the sea. We'd never have this idea of there would be Blackbeard in the game or all these kind of famous pirates. It would, like, the personalities would like come across from the creators and the people that were on there, and you like, it's the whole, I know it's cheesy, but Joe uses it all the time, like tools not rules sort of idea of the game. It's like you give yourself this entire world and you give yourself all these tools, and it's your opportunity to go and create your adventures and create these personalities. So that it's all about, there was the game where it's all about soft skills as well with your crew, and about how your crew bonds, and the more you can kind of work together with your crew, the better you are, and the more kind of feared you can be on the sea. It's great to see, even when we talk about the more kind of controversial, I suppose, topic of pirate legend and first pirate legend, and we think about how that all played out at the start. It was great to see almost like these villains rise up within the sea, and it was, we kind of stood back and just watched that happen.
and I've been joking about Pace, but obviously the loveliest guy in the world, genuinely. But also when, like, you are now, like, a legend within our community because of the way that you played and like you say, the tucking, that was the thing that you brought to the world, and influence other people to kind of play in that way. But now, whenever we do like an arena kind of event or something, and then everyone's looking to see what team Pace is going to be on, which was why I picked him on my team for the battle for LA. By the way, yeah. But it is cool, right? And it's everybody has their own stories, their own things, and it's what we wanted, and it's so cool to see it pay out. And you're right, the first Pirate Legend controversy is amazing as well, because that's a story, it's a history, it's part of the history of our world.
As developers, I imagine this means that because the game is so driven by what people are doing in it, does that make it difficult to plan updates? You kind of have to react to what the community's doing a lot, I imagine, and I know you do your weekly streams and everything. I feel like this game particularly must be so driven by audience feedback.
You're cutting right to my core weakness there, which is planning. But no, it's like it is challenging, it's difficult, but it's also kind of easy at the same time because we get so much feedback, so many ideas, and it's just about like you kind of go, does that make sense for Sea of Thieves? Does it not? And if it does, when does it make sense? And because we want to keep growing and updating and just adding to this this game and this world for as long as people are playing it. And so there's so many things we can do, and there's so many things that people suggest is right, and it's really just a prioritization kind of list. That's really how we work.
Yeah, and it goes back to those motivations as well. Like when you think about the different areas of the community that are like, oh, I love PvP, so I want to see more of this. I want to see like more combat-focused stuff, or I love adventure. I want to see this stuff in here. So it's about striking that balance as well, and serving the different areas of the game, and making sure that it's spread across all the different kind of motivations with that.
Sounds easy. Yeah, we can all do that. All right, to jump on to our next topic, we wanted to talk about some of our favorite stories from Sea of Thieves. So I'm going to just throw this to you guys and ask you to tell me one funny story or one insane thing that happened to you in Sea of Thieves at some point, if you have one thing that stands out.
So mine, if you guys remember back when the Megalodon first came out, and you had to work with other people. You had to have 5 people, right? So, and you had to all get the same tune together with the music, and it was so you had to kind of work with people you didn't know. And I ended up finding these kids in the game, and they didn't realize that like they're hot miking. And I could hear them like, do you think she's gonna mess us over after we get it? And I'm sitting there like, But so it's still the funniest moment for me, because once we're fighting the actual Megalodon. I mean, you know how kids are. They say things that are just hilarious. And I have it saved forever, this little kid yelling at the Megalodon, "You mess with my friends, I'll mess with your face." And I'm like, oh my God, what? So that was my favorite.
I think like one of the ones for me was actually on one of the streams that we did, like one of the dev streams, where we like sailed up to a tiny island in the wilds, and there's just this guy sitting there, and we're like, no ship around. No, I was like, how long has he been here? And I think his name was like Choco Donut or something. Yeah. And so he spent the entire like dev stream with us on the ship, and he was completely silent. So we had no idea what he wanted. Or what he was doing.
He'd been there so long he'd forgotten how to talk. Human interaction just wasn't a thing.
Yeah, and so he stayed with us, but then we got into a ship battle with the skeleton ship, and we were like panicking so much that he would die, because we were like, we don't know where you're going to respawn, we don't want to lose you. And then at one point you just see this cannonball hurtling in, knocking him way off the ship as he like dies in midair. We're like, no!
Well, I'll go ahead and make everyone mad with my story, since it's a little more of an unsavory one. But obviously, I like to steal Athenas from people, and you guys know that now. By now, that you guys have watched the channel, it's kind of my go-to thing. But yeah, we were tracking the fabled gilded Athena, you know, so the triple, the harder ones you get like once a year. And yeah, so I tracked them for hours and hours, and you know, the Kraken kept getting in the way, and everything was going wrong, and I was getting heated. It's like probably the most mad I've been on stream, but it was funny, so it was good for everyone else. But you know, so I finally have these guys pinned down, and I'm going. They've got a sloop. They've got 3 Athenians on board, I'm sure of it. I'm like, all right, boys, here we go. And then I kind of see them stop. I'm like, why are they stopping? They know we're coming for them. And then what do you see? Well, I had Joe hack in the Shrouded Ghost for me, because it doesn't exist. I called him like, hey, can you spawn a Shrouded for me? No, but for real, they were fighting a Shrouded Ghost. They had 3 Athenas on board, and took advantage and basically beat the game that day. So I don't think anyone's beaten that one.
So you took down the Shrouded Ghost and you stole 3 Gilded Athenas
same time.
At the same time. Like,
Good guy.
That is genuinely amazing. And so for me, like one of the things that I had, just a little story actually that I've now managed to remember. But so I was doing a Tall Tale and I was kind of on my own. So these are kind of the quests that we've added since the anniversary update, kind of narrative led, lots of puzzles as well. And an interesting fact, one of our designers on that actually used to design escape rooms. So, and this is his first kind of gig in the games industry. So those kind of really cerebral puzzles that kind of make up the Tall Tales is because of that kind of background, that way of thinking. Really fascinating stuff. But I was just doing one. I was soloing, and you have the kind of quest book that you've got and stuff. And so I was on an island. I parked up in the bay, and then suddenly out of nowhere was this just person in front of me, and I was like, okay, God, is he going to attack me? And it was just using text chat. He was just like, oh, like what are you doing? Are you doing a Tall Tale? Like can I help? And he's like, just show me the book, show me the book, show me the book. So I can turn it around, I can show it to him, and then he's like, oh yeah, I know this one. And then he starts going off and just solving like all the stuff. He's like starting digging up and things in the video. I'm just going, do it here, like that. And I was like, I don't stop spoiling it. I'm trying to solve this myself. And but it was so cool. And whenever things like that happen, though, it just reminds me what's special about Sea of Thieves, which is that the encounters with players, it's always going to be something new, something different, and like sometimes it can be PvP and sometimes not, and that's the magic of it. And every time it's like you're reminded of why we did what we did and what we set out to do, and why I think like the stories that are in Sea of Thieves don't really happen in other games, and that always kind of just makes me sort of reflect and be really kind of proud of what the team's achieved.
Another thing that Sea of Thieves does that I think is very cool is immortalizing players. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so like John said, actually, we always wanted players to kind of almost write the history of our world, and so we start with our lore, we start with our background, but then we kind of thought we're going to be continually growing and adding stuff to the game, and you're always kind of putting artwork in, putting things into the world, and it's like, why don't we base that around what players have been doing so that the history kind of builds up over time? So we started doing it in the alpha, and we've been doing it ever since. And I think that's one of the most fun meetings we have, right? Because every month we get together and we're like, what cool stories have happened? And we just go through Twitter feeds and stuff, or go on Reddit, or go on the forums, or wherever, just to try and find cool stories that we think, that's cool. Like, how do we commemorate that? So yeah, it's always been that kind of that plan idea. And again, I love that we can celebrate just our players and their kind of stories. Right?
What was the first one that you did? Was it the guy who kept jumping to his death?
Bury of the Damned, wasn't it?
It was, yes, the first person to ever die in Sea of Thieves.
Yeah.
So, because we were watching, it was our first ever alpha, wasn't it?
Yeah, and watching the data,
yeah.
and all in the TVs, all in the boardroom, and just watching it, it's like, oh, someone died.
Yeah, and it was like literally about 2 minutes in. and we were like, we should do something with that, right?
Yeah.
So their gamer tag is scratched on the by the door as you exit the kind of the ferry at the dam. Like their gamer tag is scratched in the wall because they were the first person to die, and obviously there was no one else to talk to, so they had to basically they decided to vandalise it like all best tourists do, really.
The ultimate participation award. You died, but you were here. Sea of Thieves is great for content creators because you guys can create your own stories, especially streaming. Like you can do that with your audience and laugh together. But then it's also good for you guys because they can help you out. You watch those streams, you see what people are doing, and then in reverse, you change the game as a result.
So when we the Twitch Rivals event that we did actually on Arena for kind of 2 solid days, I watched all of that in its entirety, and it actually gave me kind of some of the best feedback about our experience. And you were watching it, and sometimes the session ended really well in terms of really close, they were last minute kind of last gasp wins, but then there are also ones where one crew can get way too far out ahead, and it doesn't look great to watch. It's also not great for the other crews that are in there. So it's like we it became apparent we kind of knew we'd kind of had feedback, but it showed how important it was because it was affecting the watchability of it. It was affecting the gameplay experience, and so that's something that we're working on back at the studio to kind of try and make it more climactic on a more regular basis.
This is another example of someone being immortalized, right?
There's someone. I think someone's here actually. That's in this, isn't it? Fox Die. Yeah.
Oh, hi.
So yeah, do you know this one?
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. So well, I'm speaking for you here because you're in the room, but yeah, collecting lots of snakes basically and putting them all onto a skeleton fort, and then just the snakes being able to, and the basses kill the waves of skeletons as it goes through was just like, we had never thought that was going to be possible, and that just took so much effort to do that. It was like, it was straight away went to the top of the list of we need to do something.
Adding on to that, I'm a big fan of games when like the PvE will interact with each other like that. So I'm really glad that you guys did that. Like the sharks and the ships and the skeletons and the snakes and all that stuff. It kind of adds an extra layer of being able to do things that way too. And I thought that was a really cool interaction as well.
I like that you make them all look like they fit in the world though as well. Like it's similarly designed. It's cool. So next up, we wanted to talk a little bit more about Twitch Rivals and Twitch specifically, Twitch Drops as well. So like how the partnership between Sea of Thieves and Twitch has evolved.
Starting out, we definitely wanted to get kind of more involved with Twitch. We saw there was a huge community there, and I know like this weekend, especially, we've been talking about how kind of close knit that community is as well, and how well everyone bonded like on there. And we saw that really start to flourish, and we thought to ourselves, we have to support this. Like we have to go out of our way to make sure that we're doing everything we can to support that. So get in touch with Kirk and talking for a while about Twitch Rivals, especially around the anniversary launch. We initially thought about doing that, and then we kind of hatched a plan to do that just after E3. And that was kind of a start of a journey for us as well. Twitch Rivals was a kind of kick-off point for saying, like, what do we want to do to support Twitch in the future and the Twitch community in general.
Yeah. So I think like 5% of our players have actually streamed Sea of Thieves, which is amazing,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And it's just an incredible amount of people want to share their stories with the world, right? And so, you know, with the Twitch stuff we did for Talk Like a Pirate Day.
Yes.
So you both took part in that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so that was a really cool thing for us. It was something we wanted to test. You know, if we give kind of some of our partner streamers access to this kind of cosmetic, where if people watch them for half an hour, then the players can get access to that cosmetic too. We wanted to see kind of how would that help kind of like with your channel, with your kind of audience and stuff, and growing. So how did that go for you guys?
So for me, it was huge. I mean, because it was just, if you guys aren't familiar, for the Twitch shops, people could come in and get, like he said, for 30 minutes they watch you and they get a Canon cosmetic. And it brought so many new people into my stream. Thank you. And I sent because, you know, after you're done streaming, you get all your stats. And so I sent them all to John to show him, like, this is how much it helped me. Like, when I got on, I told them, okay, I'm probably gonna stream for about 5 hours. I ended up doing like 11 hours that day because it was just going so well. I gained like hundreds of new subscribers alone from that stream. I gained over 1,000 new followers just from that, and like it was just phenomenal stats. And people that came in and said, like, I came in, like, I didn't know you, I just came in because I wanted the Canon cosmetic, but I ended up staying, you know, and if you build that bond with them starting with that. So I just think it's amazing that you guys support us like that. And for me, like, it makes me want to like keep going with the game, and it makes me inspired as well as a streamer to have their support from the game that you play.
It's really great as well seeing the community, like after each person had finished, they would go and raid the next person who was starting. So you'd see those audiences being kind of passed around and experiencing different and new types of streamers that maybe they hadn't seen before, which was amazing.
Yeah, it was funny for me too because I stumbled out of bed at the crack of 1 p.m. As I normally do, and I'm just going to my phone. I'm like, oh my God, the viewers are absolutely going crazy right now. I don't sleep till later at night. I was like, what am I doing? I was scrambling to get ready and start my stream like 5 hours earlier than I normally did because I wanted to, you know, get in there and be a part of it. And then, you know, just adding on to what BB said, it's the same thing. Like, a ton of new people came in that maybe have never ever watched a stream or thought about watching a Sea of Thieves stream that have actually stayed around, and you see them repeat coming back, and they're like, wow, this game's really cool. Like, I didn't realize I would enjoy a stream as much as this, and I think it really was an awesome experience for both sides.
Yeah, and so it was interesting. Something someone said to me the other day, actually here, was, and you reminded me of it there when you were talking about how the the kind of everyone was passing the audience to each other and supportive is just how supportive our entire kind of streaming community is, but also the player kind of community, and the fact that, you know, everyone's here. We've had so many people at the stand repeatedly, and everybody kind of meeting the friends that they've made. But it's just that literal sense of community that is in the Sea of Thieves community is incredible across both streaming and across the whole game, and it's so friendly, it's so welcoming, and I'm so proud that we have a community that is like that.
You had a proposal at the booth.
We did.
This show.
We
Can
did.
you talk about that?
And
Just for fun?
luckily she said yes. But yeah, that was yesterday. Yeah, super cool, right? So
Yeah.
you were kind of involved in that, right?
Yeah, so we just got a message across Discord to one of the folks in the community team, and they got in contact and just said, like, can we, the gentleman that wanted to propose was like, can I do this at the booth? Like, would that be cool? She's a massive Sea of Thieves fan, and I think she would really enjoy having it there. And it got me super nervous, like, because he came up to me and he was like, well, if you just chat to her, and then I'll kneel behind her, and then like you just kind of look at me and see if she turns around. And I was like, if I have to play a part in this, I get really nervous.
You could have screwed it all up,
Yeah,
but you
'cause
didn't. She
I
said
didn't.
yes.
Exactly. I did have a gag prepared though, if she didn't. But but yeah, so I was on camera work basically behind the kind of guy that was proposing. But like, yeah, so congratulations to them,
Yeah,
because honestly,
congratulations.
like absolutely amazing, and like there were some tears. Even I nearly cried.
It's like, oh man.
To jump back to your earlier point about the Sea of Thieves community being awesome, you guys as streamers, how do you feel about the Sea of Thieves community? Like, what's your response when you're streaming that game specifically? Like, how do people tend to react to the crazy stuff you get up to?
So I started streaming a game that had a much younger crowd. It was a mobile game. And with the younger crowd, especially with people being anonymous on the internet, it can be hard. People are harsh on you. And I have to say, like, switching to Sea of Thieves, people are so much nicer. They just are. And like, people are like, they want to play with you and they want to support you. I feel like I've learned the most about this game from my Twitch chat. Like, you have any questions, somebody in your chat knows the answer. And that's like bonded me with people, and I play with people because I've learned so much from them.
That's awesome.
Yeah, adding on to that too, like, I talked to many of you guys this weekend, which was great. First of all, really a pleasure getting to know a lot of you guys. But I really like how now, especially with how the Sea of Thieves streaming community is, I can jump into someone else's stream when I'm not on, and I see a lot of familiar faces. So like, people are supporting, not only, the person that they started with, but they're branching out and like sharing those stories and, all that good information with everyone else. And I really think that that's unique as a community. I've never really seen that in another game, to be honest, where everyone kind of meshes and kind of helps everybody out.
What do you guys think it is about Sea of Thieves that fosters that community?
No, I'll add something here because I think it's relevant on all the things we're talking about. And actually, it makes my job a joy working with these guys, because Sea of Thieves guys have really been working backwards from what's good for the community. So when we talk about things we can do on Twitch, they kind of start with, well, what does the community want? Or, what would Pace and BBH like? Or what would be fun when we do a Twitch Rivals event? And then we kind of work backwards on how to figure that out. And I can tell you not all game companies do. So it's a good philosophy, but I think it's also a good way to cultivate some of the community. Even just the Twitch drops. Like, everybody loves free stuff, of course, right? But like, figuring out how we do Twitch drops, why that's good for the people that are streaming their games, how that's going to expand the community, and then paying attention to them from there. Like, that's something that they do really well that I think other game companies could continue to look at.
Yeah. It makes us quite awkward to work with sometimes, though, doesn't it? Because we're real perfectionists in terms of what we want to do and how it has to be. And
they're strong-willed and have a strong vision.
They also do like their dev streams, and they bring us streamers onto the dev streams, which is so awesome because, again, it makes us feel included, it gives us more exposure as well as them. And I mean, when I did the dev stream, like with John, I laughed so much. Just like the genuine connection with him, and like we sang, they rapped on there, and it was just the best time. It really was.
Would you care to give us a performance, John?
Yeah, let's
I
go.
would not.
Well, the original question for you, Joe and John, is how do you think that you've fostered that community? How is
Openness, transparency, and trust. Like, it is that. No, but genuinely, like, we had an approach from the get-go, like, that was very different to how most games kind of go out and communicate with their audience and community. Like, we started our insider program in, I think, 2016, like 18 months before launch, something like that. I think I'm just going to have to take care of that. Sorry.
Oh, no.
I think as well, like touching on like Joe's point there about how we're kind of open and transparent with like the community, and we talked about it. I remember joining the team and when we started thinking about video and what we wanted to do, the kind of main objective for me was like, we have to get across that these, like, we're just normal people making this game with a passion for making something. I think that's when we do the dev updates and when we do the weekly streams, and it's not scripted, and we speak our minds and we just talk about it. Like, we try not to shy away from talking about if there's something wrong, like if there's a bug or something on there. It's not all kind of like scripted and stale, and it's just a case of like, if you're knowledgeable about the subject, if we want to get you up on screen and talk about something, then you just talk from your heart. And I think that makes a huge, like, it makes a massive connection with the community, because they feel that they can trust you because you're just being honest with them, and you're just you.
Do you guys have anything you can share about plans to continue the partnership between Twitch and Sea of Thieves going forward?
I'll do it while Joe's not here, so yeah, all Twitch all the time from now on. Don't let him tell you otherwise. No, I mentioned it earlier, but we're just going to continue to try to double down on the things we've been doing. So whether we do more Rivals events or we look more at doing drops, look at how we can do things. I mean, they're open to everything. We're just trying to figure out what's good for the game and what's good for the Twitch community. So while we're having these conversations, I just say to chat, to the folks in the room, to the community, just let us know what would make the game better for you guys, and then we will make a concerted effort to try to figure out how to do that. We have some things that we're talking about currently, nothing that I would like commit to on this panel. But yeah, no, I mean, we have some cool things that we have planned, and we're going to continue to do more of what we've been doing currently. So yep, just give us your feedback, and this is a perfect time to do that, because the things that we have done on Twitch have been successful in terms of just growing viewership for streamers, bringing more people in, bringing in new viewers, and we've heard good feedback from it. So yeah, love to hear more of that.
Part of the kind of partner program stuff moving forward was regular, because I don't want to put a date on it, regular kind of loot drops on Twitch. So that, like, seeing the impact it had has definitely accelerated that, and I think we want to do much more of those.
Since we have you guys on stage right now, don't be too brutal. Is there anything that you'd really like to see from the partnership between Twitch and Sea of Thieves?
I think that they've done a fantastic job so far in trying to help us out, which is good. I think, continuing that feedback, like you said, from the community, it's a good outlet to come to us. You know what I'm saying? Now, that Sea of Thieves and Twitch are bigger now. Like, we can talk to the developers and give them your ear, basically. You know what I'm saying? So, it's going to be a continued thing, like you guys said. But I think the Rivals events are fantastic. I mean, I think that's absolutely great. Everyone likes their team. You know what I'm saying? It's like a sport. You root for them. You sizing everybody up. It's great, and I really think that that's going to be good for all the partners too. So it'll be fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with what you said. The fact that like we have that communication with them as streamers. So if you guys do have ideas or feedback, critiques, it's stuff that we can pass on to, because sometimes you don't know where to go. Or if you tweet it, maybe it gets lost on Twitter, so it is like a direct contact. But I think you guys are amazing. Like, the fact, like I said, you guys just support us with the partner program and hook us up with in-game, like giving us ancient coins to show off and get the pets and things like that. I mean, it's just awesome for us, I think, overall.
I think there's a definite thing between looking at Rivals and how we think about that stuff in the future, and not just Arena.
Sure.
But how we can work Rivals into all aspects of the game would be really fun and interesting.
The last slide, very excitingly, says future plans. What you got planned for the future? Tell us everything.
So, like, speaking broadly about how our roadmap is working and how we see things fleshing out over the next year, we really wanted to double down and focus on regularity. And a part of that was, how do we make sure that we are like regular for not just our players to come back and know that that things will be dropping at certain cadences, but also for our creators who we know you're tied to schedules, and for especially for some folks who their sole game is not Sea of Thieves. It's you've got to try and kind of plan this stuff out. So for the next year, it was all about making sure that for the team, what we were building was a sustainable amount of work. You weren't like, if this is, the plan is to go on for years and years of this kind of monthly drop, it's like you don't want to burn everyone out. So it's making sure that it's sustainable working for the team, but it's also making sure that we deliver meaningful content for creators and players to come back. But the Fort of the Damned will be our next update, which you can guess is probably the Halloween-based update. And we've heard from everyone about this idea of kind of opt-in experience around Force. So, and I've already said too much on that. But we know that this time of the year, like especially around holidays, that engagement is super high in the game, and we want to make sure that we went even bigger this time than we did with Festival of the Damned last year, and even bigger in the future with certain holidays to make sure that that is exciting. I think October's update for the folks who are playing at the moment, October's update is definitely bigger than September's, and November's is bigger than October, so it's an exciting few months that we've got coming up.
Okay.
And anyone who's on Insiders will have seen some of the stuff that's coming.
Adding on to that, just make sure you have your crews ready for next month's update. If they haven't been in practice, you might need them to get back and get into gear. So just
You run a tight ship. You've got like your squad just training every day. Cut from the team. All right, do you want to jump to questions? Yeah? Okay. I wanted to ask, I heard, and I don't know if this is true, that the ocean in Sea of Thieves is the same ocean in Forza Horizon. No. I was told that like some similar tech was used between those two studios.
Yes, so there was definitely some of the engineers had come over from the playground, which is literally a few miles away from our studio in Leamington Spa. And they came over and may have had help from some of our rendering engineers about how to do their water, but yeah, they didn't steal it. It was just some
I
help.
wasn't saying they stole it. It's more of a shared universe thing. On one side there's pirates, and on the other side there's cars. All right, we'll take a question from you first.
So, just had a question. Can we expect any different styles of play for the arena, or will it stick with the same? Grab chests and go sell them kind of deal.
And so, like, we know that there's work to do with Arena. We definitely see that, and Joel kind of spoke to this about what we saw through the Rivals event and some of the feedback we've been hearing from the community about how we balance like ship fights with the kind of exploration and finding chests. So there's definitely exploratory work that's going on at the moment with how we want to balance Arena all up and what that main mode for Arena means. And I say main mode because as we add things like with duo sloops, which we debuted at Gamescom last month, sooner rather than later, as we see those come in and kind of flesh out that mode and see how players react to playing in duos, which I know will be my preference for that. That would be really interesting. But the plan was always to be in the future to have possibly like a second playlist that would shuffle around so we could see what was popular and what wasn't and how we integrate that into the plans. And if something was to take off, then yeah, absolutely, there would be no reason why we wouldn't add those sort of features in. But we definitely want to experiment with it, see where it goes. And it's in its early days still, Arena. It was definitely a like adventure. It's something we want to build on for the years to come. And yeah.
Could I please build off of something you said about the sloops in Arena? For people that like already completed pretty much all the commendations, will there be any incentive for them to go back into Arena?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Absolutely love the game primarily for the community. It's the same reason I love Twitch, is for the community. Are there any plans in the future to bridge those two? Whether through extensions or through ways for people to join off of creators or anything along those lines to kind of make the community more of a whole instead of two disparate parts that are working together.
So yes, so part of that work is the creator crew. So I know it feels at the moment that it's pivoted towards the creators, and it's exactly what we wanted to do at the start. Was the Creator Crew itself, which we launched 2 weeks ago, is this place for folks who might have not started streaming but wanted to get into streaming and wanted a kind of place, an avenue to get in and some help to do that. But it was also building a community around streaming and around creators. It was also like a kind of funnel for us. So it offers how-to videos, it offers the forums there for people to go and chat, and it offers those commendations, which are essentially just kind of something to entice you into streaming. But it becomes a funnel and a way to make your way up to the partner program. And ideally what we want to do is spotlight some of the best creators that are coming through there and kind of push them up and into becoming partners. And the partner program we announced this weekend at TwitchCon, and it's up on our news site if you want to go check that out and what the requirements are there. But to go back to your question about that, it absolutely comes down to the community and viewers as well. And while we've probably built the first half of that experience and released the first half of the experience, the Creator Crew is something that goes much bigger than that, and we will continue to build on that as we have the game, and we have plans for the future about how we start to bridge the gap between viewers and the community in the game and creators. And I wish I could tell you more, but
Understand. Thank you so much.
Did a good job.
Hey guys, thanks. Oh.
That's a microphone.
Is it? Hi guys, I just wanted to sort of ask about a different facet of Sea of Thieves on Twitch. The new role-playing game comes out in about 2 weeks, and as I'm sure most people in the room are aware, you've got plenty of shows like D&D and things like that on Twitch. Will the Creator Crew and stuff like that be incorporating the RPG as well, or will there be anything in regards to that for streamers or even the crew at Rare if they feel like doing one of their weekly streams like that?
I can speak for us at Rare. We have 100% got planning for a stream that does that.
Yes.
Yeah, so we're totally behind the board game and stuff, and the Creator Crew in general will continue to expand to other disciplines. The obvious one to launch with was streaming and then moving into video on demand like YouTube and stuff. And then as we think about cosplay, as we think about music, as we think about all these other amazing, I mean, we've seen some amazing props and stuff that come through here this week and people making these awesome models. It's like, we need to support that entire community, and we definitely will do. So yeah, when it comes to the board game, I would hope that if there's anyone in the partner program who's interested in doing those streams, they reach out, and I'm sure they will get a board game to stream.
My question, it's also kind of an idea. Have you guys ever had like any future plans to maybe, like, since we have the harpoon guns on the front of the ship, have you ever thought about doing something like a swivel gun or a net gun for like fishing, or, you know, some sort of more advanced like thing, and putting the option out there of changing between what you have on the front of your ship? It's just something I'm curious about.
What I love about the community and all this stuff is that, and building Sea of Thieves in general, is that you start to build that base. And I think Matt Booty, who's the head of like Xbox Game Studios, talked about this on a video that we did. But that we've built this amazing base that now so many people have so many different ideas about what they would love to add to the game. And we internally as well have this huge list. It's like a wall of post-it notes and marker pens that are just, they would love to get in there. But yes, I don't know of any plans of a net or anything to add to the front of it, but there's no reason why that couldn't be added as a post-it note to the wall of post-it notes that are already up there.
The Twitch chat is asking if they can have a pace point. There we go. They explicitly said they would riot if they didn't get it, so we don't want that.
This is directed more towards the streamers on the panel today. My friends and I start out playing Sea of Thieves a lot and streaming it. My guys right here stream it quite regularly. As streamers, you see the game change and iterate as they create new updates, new content. What are the challenges that you've found from your original play style when you first started streaming Sea of Thieves up to today, and what do you think the challenges would be going forward, trying to keep your content fresh and relevant and keep your viewers coming back?
Well, for me, I'll be honest. When I played it beta, and I would play it, I would stop, something new would come out. I'd play it and I'd stop. And then maybe about like 7 months ago, I played it consistently, but I don't know. I think it was just waiting for like something that I'm like, okay, like I have content every day that I can play. I'll let you continue.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to strain your voice.
Okay.
Most of the events are player driven, obviously, when you get into the game. So something that I like to do personally is I like to kind of just try to find like behavioral patterns in players that I play against. You know what I'm saying? So when an event comes out, I try to find ways of how are players going to interact with this event. How can I mess that up for them? And how can I make it fun for all of you to watch at home? So that's kind of the idea of like thinking outside the box. Like they give you the tools for each month or each update that they use, but there's a lot of different avenues that you can take to spice it up a little bit, which is why I think it's really cool that they do that. So that's a good method.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Wondering if private servers or some kind of like rent-a-server will come around?
If I could have $1 for every time I hear that, I've heard that question this weekend, I would be a rich man. Yeah, like private servers are absolutely on our roadmap. Like we realize they're a crucial part, especially for content creators. And we definitely haven't shied away from the question that's what we want to go to. It's a huge piece of engineering work for us, and it's something we're definitely investigating at the moment, how we want to do that. And and especially when we think across Arena and we think across Adventure as two very different experiences and how we want to service like private servers on there. They are on the roadmap. They have a certain slot on that roadmap that I can't exactly say, but they are in their future, like mid-term. You can take from that what you want, a bit mid-term future of like how do we do this? We've seen so many creative, we've seen server takeovers from so many creative like people, and CD in the third doing the pirate games, and Race of Legend from Dread Pirate Doug, and yeah, the Sea of Champions I think coming up as well, and we want to make sure we try and support those.
Okay, because we're pretty
Just
much
everything?
out of time, thank you for that. I wanted to try and get through these last few questions, but if you guys can answer very quickly,
Okay,
that would be
sorry.
very helpful.
All right, I'll
go
make
ahead.
it quick. For Kirk, we really welcome the Prime integration to our community. Being a Microsoft game, was there any kind of permission or stuff from Papa Microsoft?
Yeah, no,
or is it
totally get the question. That's a very smart question. No, the thing I'll say about it's not just the Sea of Thieves team, it's working with Xbox in general. They've been very proactive about just going where the gamers are. So, they know they have community on Twitch, and they want to make sure that those people are getting the best experience possible. So, yeah, we've had talks with them, but they've been nothing but supportive for making sure the community has good things. The one thing I will say is I don't actually do the Twitch Prime work. That's another team, so I don't want to take all the credit for that. But the Xbox team has been super supportive about working with Twitch. So, yeah, it wasn't much of an issue. They just asked how they can help, and along with these guys.
Great.
I have another answer from the Twitch chat. Give me a yes, no, or a maybe. Are there more pets coming? He didn't give me any of those. All right, it's fine. Great work, Joe. We missed you.
We signed you up for a bunch of pets while you were out, Joe, just FYI.
My question is, as the map size grows in the future, how are you going to rectify the lull in time between when you find another ship on a server? Are you going to be able to grow the number of ships, or are you going to be able to use, say, like a multiple servers instances that will be able to cross over from one to another?
Is that sorry about Adventure? Does this work? Yeah. Thank you. So we've always been really passionate about the kind of frequency of ship encounters being like a key metric for Adventure. But we always know it's going to be varied. And so sometimes it can be super busy. Sometimes it can be like you go without encountering ship for a period of time. We like that. We like that it's emergent, it's different, it's kind of different each time. But we also know that there are some players, especially players that like to engage in combat, that like to see kind of ships and stuff. So I think the approach we would take with that is to be more kind of focused about introducing ways to find other players or introducing motivations for people to kind of meet up and engage in stuff, rather than kind of changing that balance of the emergent world, but more actually just providing motivations and goals and things that would actually drive that kind of content. And it's definitely been a big bit of feedback we've got from lots of people here, actually. It's just around, like, there's a lot of people that like fighting in games. Who knew, eh? But yeah, so that's kind of how we would do that.
All right, thank you so much.
All right, we have one last question.
I was just wondering, if curiosity, if you guys in the future might consider dueling for us, like the option in an emotes or something for us PvPers that would like to practice without having to hunt down for new players. And
So I think that falls into the category of things that kind of make sense. Like in Sea of Thieves, that would be cool. Like we understand the motivation for it, and it's kind of a, like, when would we prioritize that, I guess, over and above the things that we're currently kind of working on. So it's not something I'd rule out. I'd just say it's not something we're immediately working on. Like, so that's
Okay,
my
'cause
politician dodging answer. But yeah, but that's kind of, you know, like I talked about earlier, that's the kind of camp of things. Does it kind of make sense? It kind of does, right?
yeah, because I
so-
would like a thing like where you could just turn off the ability, I guess, so you can not just duel one person, but you can duel your entire crew to like practice. Because yeah, chasing down poor innocent people kind of does get a little sad sometimes, and a lot of salt. But to go up against like really good players and not being able to find another ship or something like that.
If I could add on to that, since you kind of spoke to custom servers already, I think like that going in with that might alleviate a lot of that too. I mean, I'm not a developer, but I think that would be, you know, you're going to get that opportunity, I would say, there where you could just
Yeah, I would duel you.
pick,
in a
yeah, you
heartbeat,
can pick who you
dude.
want and go at it, you know what I'm saying? So I think it would probably
I could
solve a
show
lot of
you the controller would beat you.
Cold-blooded.
Alrighty. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you,
We
guys.
went 5 minutes over time, and I'm trying to prevent a fight from breaking out. So, thank you all for coming, and we hope you had an awesome TwitchCon.
Thank you, everyone.